Well, as Pride Month draws to a close, I find myself reflecting on how it feels like we've backslid as a country lately. You know, for a while there, it was like gay marriage was legalized. It felt like we're moving in the right direction, but lately it's starting to feel a little Westboro Baptisty around here again. And it seems to be mostly aimed at the trans community, which I think is odd because they make up less than 1% of the population. Yet, according to the right, they're an existential threat to kindergartners everywhere. How? They're making whole laws about it, dude. Some of them laws are so specific in nature, those anti-trans laws, they might as well be called the Make Zoe Sad Act of 2022. The whole thing just reeks of bullying. It's awful, and I don't understand why are they doing this to the trans community now. And I have a theory, right? I think you have to understand that for these people, it's very important for them to be able to hate something out loud, right? We all know they have their secret prejudices. You get them together behind closed doors and it's still N-word this, Jews control the weather that. We know that, right? But that stuff doesn't scratch quite the same itch for them as being publicly bigoted does. That's the good stuff, right? That's what they thrive on. And for most of this country's history, they've had that. For a long time, their target was black people, right? But then Civil Rights March of Progress says, hey, you can't do that anymore. You're going to have to get by on dog whistles and code words. You can't be openly hateful to these people anymore. And so they begrudgingly moved on to their next target, and the process repeated itself, right? They went from black people to gay people and Mexicans, and after 9/11, it was Muslims, right? And on and on and on until one day late in the Obama administration, they woke up and suddenly realized there was nothing left that it was acceptable for them to hate in public anymore. And this prompted an existential crisis, right? And at that moment, two things happened. Number one, Donald Trump showed up and opened up a whole new world of public bigotry possibilities for these people. And number two, they found out about transgenders, right? North Carolina prompts some silly bathroom bill and papaws everywhere perk up like, what's pooping where now? Not my town, these are the Lord's shitters, right? And then they were just off to the races. They soon realized that the trans community made the perfect target because they were such a small minority. It was harder for them to push back. And because it wasn't racial or ethnic in nature, they could attract bigots of all stripes to their cause. And most importantly, they could very easily twist it into being about protecting the children, right? You put all that together, buddy, you got the perfect hateful stew going, son. And make no mistake, it is hate. They've proven time and again at this point that they are not okay with trans people existing in any context, anywhere. If that's not hate, I don't know what is. All right. But to be completely fair to these people, I should acknowledge that they do also hate immigrants and poor people out loud too, right? But the trans stuff is on another level. But I still fully believe that at the end of the day, this campaign of public hatred will wind up the same way all the rest of them have for these people, with the shame and revulsion of their descendants and with them firmly on the wrong side of history. I do believe that. I couldn't sleep at night if I didn't, right? We just have to soldier on and love will prevail. Love y'all. Oh, YouTube, listen, a note for you guys. One thing, that upsets me about this is like thinking about like your Aunt Tammy or your Uncle Randy or whatever. If they're watching Fox News or whatnot, they might not even realize any of this stuff or feel this, they look at the anti-trans people as heroes. They're protecting children, whatever, and they genuinely believe that because we're all so shaped by the bubbles we live in and the media we consume. With that in mind, I want you to check this out, and then I'll be back right after that with some more musings for you. You know, YouTube, one thing that frustrates me about our current reality is how many of us live in a bubble and how easy it is to do thanks to the lack of transparency in the media. Well, that's why I want to tell you about Ground News. Ground News is a startup and service that aims to encourage readers to think freely by adding context and transparency to every news story so cooperative civil debate can become the norm. Let's see how it works. All right, here we are on Ground News' website, but they also have a app and a Chrome extension. You can see all the news that's going on right now, but it's far from just an aggregator. Let's take this top story about the man who leaked the Pentagon Papers dying at the age of 92. You can see already without even clicking that the right is barely covering this story for whatever reason, but if you actually click on it, you get even more information immediately. You can see the bias distribution over here on the right, and for every article written about it, you immediately can tell whether that publication is left or right-leaning or in the center, how high their degree of factuality is, and the money behind the publication, giving you layers of information you previously did not have. But I want to show you a specific feature they have on this one. This is their blind spot feature, which shows you stories that are currently going under or unreported on either side of the political spectrum. Right now, you can see on the left is not covering these stories about a Biden associate in foreign deals being in talks with House investigators, Dan Crenshaw grilling a Democrat witness, Tucker Carlson dishing about Fox News. But at the same time, the right is not covering these stories about, as we mentioned, the Pentagon Papers gentleman and Jamal Khashoggi's widow suing Israel. I don't know why the right wouldn't want to cover something like that, or the fact that abortion providers in North Carolina are filing a federal lawsuit, or that the Fox News producer behind Biden's wannabe dictator Chiron has resigned. But this feature gives you an immediate glimpse into the types of stories that people on the other side of the spectrum are not getting, which gives you a whole lot of added context and information immediately. Ground News is a great service. So if you like the sound of that, click the link in the description below to stay fully informed on breaking news, compare coverage, and avoid media bias by trying Ground News today. You can sign up for free or subscribe through my link to get 30% off their highest tier Advantage plan. Either way, push back on the bias and the BS. Try Ground News today. Hey YouTube, it really is weird. I feel so bad for trans people considering how small the community it really is. I did some of the math and looked it up, and it's like them choosing the trans community to go after would be like if one day half the country woke up out of nowhere and was like, you know what? Fuck people born in the second half of 1983. No, I'm sick of it. They're out here losing their hair, still listening to grunge music. It's gross. All right, you think it's any kind of coincidence that as soon as they turned 18, 9/11 happened? Open your eyes, people. They must be stopped before they turn 40 this year, right? It's like, how did you land on that? And then they make their whole personality about this one very specific subset of the American public. You know what I mean? Like if that happened, and then Jesse Eisenberg, who was born in October of '83, he like appears in a milk ad, so they start boycotting cows. You'd be like, what the fuck is going on? This is crazy, right? It's really wild how crazy this whole goddamn world is, and sometimes you just have to take a step back and appreciate it. Speaking of appreciating it, I appreciate y'all right around that point. Thank you for watching this. I'm gonna put some things up here. Right here should be a square, which I'm gonna try to put my comedy special on. It's called Damn Boy. You should watch that. I think you'll dig it. I hope you'll dig it. Down here in one of these circles is subscribe to this channel, which if you don't already, you absolutely should. I sure would appreciate it, and I would doubly super duper appreciate you clicking the other circle, which is TreyCrowder.com, which has my tour dates for stand-up comedy and all the tickets on there, which means the world to me. That's my main gig. But as long as y'all keep watching these, I'll keep making them, and I sure do love you. I appreciate you. See you. Bye.